And welcome everyone to Mystics Pregame. We got Cardo W. Jr. here. I'm also Tarvin Jr. The Washington Mystics are once again in action. That's why we're getting a chance to speak with you all. They're on the road to face the 1-2 Dallas Wings. The Wings won their opening game against the Fever, and since then they've dropped back-to-back games, both of which have come at home. The Mystics, on the other hand, they're 2-1, and they're coming off a hard-fought win against the Indiana Fever on the road, in which they held on in overtime for a 104-102 win. As far as the injury report goes, Dallas has no injuries slash absences to report, while the Mystics will be without Michaela Onyenwere. She's still yet to make her season debut. That said, Cardell, looking at tonight's matchup, what boxes do you feel the Mystics have to check to make it, to leave Dallas with the win and make it back to back wins?
Well, one, just bring their defense, continue to bring the defense that they've shown most of the season. Last game, it was kind of hit or miss, depending on the quarter, depending on the stretches of the game. Obviously, they're going up, against a team in the East that is expected to kind of be contending with the power, firepower that they have offensively, where they can get the defensive end together. But nonetheless, it's still early in the season. Teams are still trying to figure out chemistry and things like that. So for the Mystics to be where they are, 2-1, especially being so young and basically being led by Shakir, who by WNBA standards is still fairly young. What is she, 5 or 6 year vet? And then you got Sonya and Kiki, who's second year players. That's the core lead in these ladies, man. So and the rest are pretty much rookies. You know what I mean? So, they're in a good place. Like I said, I love the start of their defense. I love the defensive start to the season. But offense has to be more consistent. Last game, it kind of woke up. They shot 56, 38, 79 shooting splits. Prior to that, they were struggling from the free throw line, struggling from the field goal, no struggling from them deep. So they were able to put that together. But like I said, with that coming together, the defensive end kind of slacked too often, and then the turnovers. They gotta do something about the turnovers. 21 turnovers. It's just way too much. Last game, they conceded 27 points. They just simply took care of the ball. They wouldn't have had to go to overtime, and the game wouldn't have been that close. So that's just something on the Missy side that they got to kind of, get in check, so to speak. Love the dominance in the paint, the scoring. Obviously, the tandem with Shakira, Kiki, Cody McMahon, her debut, she came in, got right to work. You know what I mean? So they're thriving in that, man. They just got to continue to be more efficient from all three levels and be more consistent defensively, and they'll be fine. But on Dallas side, the things they got to look out for as far as tonight, Dallas isn't the most defensive-minded team, and I just saw their coach call them out recently, talking about they're selfish and they're not playing for one another. So no one worth their soul like to be called out, shoot, even privately, so let alone publicly. So it's going to be interesting to see how they come out with the intensity and the energy they come out with. But with the Wings, they still have some flaws that the Mystics can exploit, specifically starting with rebounds. Mystics can rebound the hell out the ball. The Wings are kind of, they're anemic there, you know what I mean? One of the worst teams in the league. They're 13th in the WNBA out of 15 teams. They only average 29 a game, which is crazy with the pace that's going on right now in the high-scoring games. That means there's a lot of misses, going down, and you're only able to gather 29. So I think the Mystics can punish them in that area, especially with second chance points. They definitely can do that. Defensively, they're not really active enough so far. They're 11th in steals, only give up 7 a game. I mean, they only take away 7 a game. And then blocks, they're 13th. They only average 3. So with the Mystics, again, rebound and attack them in the paint. Why settle? Just punish them, attack them. They don't get to the free throw line a lot. The Dallas Wings, they're 10th in makes, 10th in attempts. But when they get there, they make them. They're shooting 80% from the line. They're 5th in the WNBA. So the Mystics have to be aggressive defensively like they've been, but not handsy. They can't put them on the free throw line, because that will be the area where they can kind of nullify what the Mystics should be doing with second chance points and on the boards. You know what I mean? So they got to be able to keep them off the free throw line. The Wings don't shoot 3 pointers well. They're 10th in the WNBA right now, 31%. Just get a hand up, keep run them off the 3 point line. If they start hitting, but for the most part, see if they hit them. It's not really that urgent, with the exception of a couple players. Obviously Paige can hit them. She's torching. She's carrying the load. She's shooting 54% from deep right now, so she's torching the earth right now. Ariga Ogabal Wale. She's been off this year, 26%. Odyssey Sims, 50%. Outside of them is Zaya James, local product down in Virginia. She shoots 37%, but outside of them, it's not really anybody with high volume shot attempts that's hitting 3 pointers. So, that's something that the Mystic can use to their advantage. And if the Wings don't hit threes, the Big's not going to lead the paint. It's going to be a long night for them. So that's just something you just kind of, keep an eye on, so to speak. But I'm not going to run out at them like if it's Caitlin Clark on fire or something like that. It's just not that big of a threat. They got to show me that they can hit those shots. And then, but they're pretty good with field goals, mid range, and getting in the paint. They're fifth in the WNBA and field goal percentage 47%. So, you got to guard them. You know what I mean? They may not be able to hit threes, but they're finding a way to score efficiently from all the other areas, and they get into the line and making them. So you got to do those things. You got to still play sound defense, and they're fourth in assists in the WNBA, 21 a game, man. A lot of that has to do with Paige, and a lot of that has to do with Jessica Shepard, who's averaging 5.3 assists a game, man. And Alana Smith, 3.3. So it's by committee. Odyssey Sims averaging, 3 a game as well, and Enrique Ogabawale, 2.3. So they kind of getting it done by committee. So that means they got a lot of playmakers as well, which would test the Mystics defense. With the mismatches and the cross matching on transition, because the Wings, they love to get out and run. That's their thing. Pace. They're fourth in the WNBA in points, 88.3. Their pace is kind of it flutters up and down. They're 10th ranking, but when you watch them play, they still get up and down. They're pretty fast. So you got, especially with their guards. But the reason why they're slow is because they can't rebound. So if you can't rebound, you can't get out and run. But when they do, you got to get back. So that's just something the Mystics have to keep an eye on them. And then also the one key thing about the Wings, they don't turn the ball over. They're third in the WNBA, 11.3 turnovers a game. A lot of that has to do, again, with Paige. She only averages 1.3, and she has the ball in her hand a lot. She plays off the ball as well, but she's the focal point as far as being the leading scorer, and she's the setup person oftentimes, man. So yeah, she don't really turn the ball over at all. Enrique and Odyssey Sims, they only average 2 apiece. So that backcourt they don't give up the ball, man. So they're efficient in moving the ball, they're efficient in scoring outside the 3-point range, and they're efficient in getting the line. So the Mystics got their work cut out for them defensively. But if they're able to hold up defensively, shutting their water off from mid range and in the paint and keeping them off the free throw line, do what they do on the boards, punish them on the other end. The Mystics should be 3-1, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm right with you. And to double down on what you're talking about with Jessica Shepard, I know she hasn't always been healthy, but for those folks that are aware of what she brings to the table, it's kind of like if you're ever thinking of the type of big you would love to have in a high post or something, picking apart an opposing defense. It's what she does. Like you said, she leads that team, and it's just for a reason. And yet, they're powered by their guards. I think it attests the Mystics' communication on defense well. Washington's guards can't fall asleep in this one. Every one of those guards on Dallas is happy to cut back door. You talked about all of them being like obviously not great from beyond the arc. All of them are comfortable getting downhill and working in the mid range as well. But styles make fights, and that rebounding edge, that edge inside, if Washington's able to, wield that the way that they've been doing, which has been a strength, that's going to be a lot for Dallas to deal with. Like you said, they would love to play really fast. Dallas does play fast when they get stops, when
Right.
people turn it over.
Mhm.
But the glass, like you said, we've seen, the 2 losses this year. Opposing teams are feasting on the glass. It matters. Like it really, really matters.
And just the last thing, Jessica Shepard and Lana Smith. They're both 6'4". Lana Smith, that was my girl when she was with the Lynx, Defensive Player of the Year. I expect Sonya and Kiki to see a lot of her. And if Shakira get off, I expect her to be floating. But Jessica Shepard is another 6'4" hybrid in that mode. Like I said, still got to play, but the Mystics, if they play up to their ability, they should be able to come out of this with a win, even on the road, man. But they got to, they have yet to kind of fully play their best yet.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Every time we get to a outlook and tied into the next pregame, we're talking about those boxes they just haven't checked. We just kept them from playing complete games. Like you said, you mentioned the fever game, or even going back to the game they lost against Liberty. Those the little things, the turnovers, the missed free throws, those things add up because they just don't have that type of room for error where you can do one or two of those things. Unfortunately for them, at times, like a couple of those boxes, they're damning to overcome, and they just can't at this point. Even with the overwhelming, we see what their strength is inside, but you negate that with turnovers. Like last game, they held on to beat the Fever, but turning the ball over. You talked about the points conceded. I'll even go. You mix in the pace plus the points conceded. I think the Fever almost got 30 more shots up, even with that strength inside.
Mhm.
You can't help the other team beat you. And again, it's a young team. Look, gotta learn how to win. That said, gonna hold them to it. I think there's a standard. Like most of us are comfortable with holding them to this early, with what they've been doing so far. Like the two wins have been on the road. It's we'll see as the season goes on. Toronto doesn't look like it's going to be a fun place to play, and we know Indiana's not. You know what I'm saying? Like we know that for sure. Nobody likes that, and they'll get another chance tonight. We'll see how things go. But if you had nothing else, you guys, keep in mind those keys to the games Cardell shared with you as you watch it, and then we'll check in with you guys afterwards for Mystics Outlook as always.
One last thing.
Go
The
ahead.
Mystics, second in the league in rebounding, 43.2. My bad, 43.3 rebounds per game. Also, second in offensive rebounding, 12 a game. That's what I mean. They've been punishing teams. So, but they're dead last in turnovers, dead last in player fouls. Wings hit a lot of free throws. Dead last in free throw percentage, 69%. So, yeah, they got to figure some things out on that end. Oh, dead last in 3-point percentage, 24%. So they got some things they got to clean up to come out of this with a win. But we know their talent level from seeing them since driving them throughout college and training camp. We know what the team overall is capable of. So if they're able to play at their peak, at their best, they shouldn't really have too much of a problem tonight. And that's no disrespect to the Wings. The Wings are just kind of thin inside. But um, yeah, if they up and down like they were with the Fever, it's gonna be a battle tonight.
Yeah, and like you said, to the point, it's literally you talk about the things that they're the top in, the things that they're on the opposite end of the spectrum. It literally damn near negates the strengths. Like it's just really hard to overcome those things. You said last a 3-point percentage, don't do a great job of keeping teams off the line. Like you said, you gotta stop helping teams beat you, and it go a long way towards stacking up W's. So for Cardo and myself, you guys enjoyed tonight's game, and we'll see you guys afterwards for Outlook.